Dear Claire, well, here we are live from Nicaragua. You would not believe how different it is here from back home. Looking out of the airplane window as we were flying over the scene I have never seen before. All of the green and the forests. I also saw some areas with lots of little huts with different colored roofs. They looked like our neighborhoods back home, except instead of big houses built with cement and brick, these were shacks made out of scrap metal and tarps. I am already starting to see how poverty-stricken this country is. I still cannot believe I am in Central America. The environment is so different from Maryland. Here, all I see is green and mountains for miles and miles. This is because Nicaragua sits on top of the Atlantic coastal and Pacific coastal plains. I also learned that volcanoes change the structure of the plains and are very active here in Nicaragua. We even went to go visit an active volcano site. You would have loved it. The trek up the volcano was treacherous, but well worth it when we got to the top. Luckily, we were in the highlands of the country, so it was cooler than it typically can be. The roads here are very different and range from dirt roads to roads made out of non-uniform stones. But one last stop before we go to Las Conchitas. We stopped at a local market where local artisans create and sell goods like pottery, sculptures, woven baskets, jewelry, bags, belts, paintings, you name it, they have everything. I may have even picked up something for you. But hey, look, we are here. Look at our awesome beds they have for us at Las Conchitas. Las Conchitas is the name of the community that we are going to be building houses for. We are staying in a one-level, big, open, cinder block building where we will sleep, eat, and rest when we are not working. Nicaragua is one of the poorest countries in Latin America and the second poorest in the Western Hemisphere, and boy does it show. On our trip into the Las Conchitas, we saw multiple different home environments like I have never seen before. Some houses were quite similar to the ones I described earlier, and some were even more desolate. Most of the shacks that Nicaraguans call their homes do not even have a door or even a foundation. Children and animals running around in and out of the streets because there is no ending and no beginning to these streets. I recently found out that the fertility rate has actually decreased since 1980, but being here it is hard to believe. The birth rate is still considerably high in younger women, which leads to a cycle of poverty and minimal educational opportunities. Since the income distribution is so unequal, poor indigenous families do not have access to healthcare services. But now it's time to build some houses. As a group, we are going to build 2 different houses for 2 different families. Our group leader has been in contact with local community leaders to ensure that we are giving these houses to the neediest families. But we are not alone. The organization we are with, Bridges to Community, employs a handful of local masons who assist mission groups in constructing the houses. You know how Dad has his shed full of machine-operated tools that help him with projects around the house? Right. Well, we have none of that here. Everything is done by hand. From sifting through stones to make cement, to churning over and creating the cement in huge piles, to bending metal rods to build the foundation, to securing those metal rods together by tying knots with tiny pieces of metal. Everything is man-based with no electronic tools. The only parts of the house that we do not build will be the roof, windows, and the door. Oh my, aren't you getting tired looking at all of that physical labor? Building the house was an incredible experience that was worth all of the aches and pains. Also, the feeling of the bucket showers after a long hot day were unforgettable. Here's what our house will look like when it is finished. Did you know that nationally Nicaragua's unemployment rate is only 6%, yet 42.5% of the population is below the poverty line? How is this possible? Being immersed into the culture and environment of this third world country has challenged me into thinking about what can be done and what we can do back home to help those in need around us. I think the first step is to start educating people of all ages, hence the purpose of this letter. I cannot wait to share more with you about the trip, but for now I'm going to call it a night. Long day building tomorrow. Love, your cocoon sister, Natalie.